Hello everybody. We are going over factoring trinomials and we're looking at the form ax squared plus bx plus c where a does not equal 1 or 0. And for this one, this is different because the one we looked at before, a was equal to 0. Well, now a has a different value, or a was equal to 1. Now we have a different value instead of 1. We're going to actually have a coefficient with that leading term. So the steps for factoring ax squared plus bx plus c where a does not equal 1. Step 1. Find a pair of factors of the product a times c. Meaning I'm going to multiply a and c together and then I'm going to find the factors of that product whose sum is b. Next, I will rewrite b as the sum of those factors. And then I will factor by grouping. So these are our steps. Let's actually take those and put them into an example. So I'm given the problem 6x squared minus 19x plus 10. I need to factor it. Well, just looking at this, you can tell that would not be as simple as what we did before. I just can't take the factors of 10 and be able to come up with my numbers. So my trinomial is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, color coded. So that's what I have written my coefficients in and my constant. So I know that a equals 6 and c equals 10. I'm going to find the product of a and c. So 6 times 10 is 60. This is step 1. Find a pair of factors of the product of a times c. Well, my factors for 60 are 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10. And I need to find the factors, the pair of factors, whose sum is b. Well, what is b? b is a negative 19. So out of all of these, see this here, I could get 61, I could get 32, 23, 19, 17, 16. This is the one, 4 and 15. But notice, b is actually a negative 19. Therefore, the factors must be negative. Negative 4 times a negative 15 is 60. Negative times a negative is a positive. So whenever I have these factors, the sum needs to equal b. And I have that. Now I'm going to rewrite b as a negative 4x plus a negative 15x. 6x squared minus 4x plus a negative 15x plus 10. If you'll see, all I've done right here is I've just rewritten a negative 19 as those two terms, a negative 4x and a negative 15x. Next, I will factor by grouping. So I'm going to group these two terms together and I will group these two terms together. And we've already done factor by grouping. Here I can pull out a 2x and here I can pull out a negative 5. So I have 2x times 3x minus 2 minus 5 times 3x minus 2. Factor out my 3x minus 2. I have 3x minus 2 times 2x minus 5. I will say this, in some of your problems that you're going to have, you may be able to see the answer and do not have to do all this. The check comes to, whenever you're correct, is by multiplying this back out. So let's check our work. I have 3x minus 2 times 2x minus 5. Well, that becomes 6x squared minus 15x minus 4x plus 10, which becomes 6x squared minus 19x plus 10. That's what we started with. We are correct. All right, let's look at another example, and we'll work this out step by step so that way we can see it. And I will try to color code it to help. So I have 5x squared plus 22x plus 8. Step 1, I'm going to find the products of A and C. So I know this will be step 1. A equals 5 and C equals 8. And I want to find the product of A and C. Well, that is simply going to be their numeric values that I'll put in there. I will say 5 times 8. What does that give me? 40. So now I need to find those factors of 40 that equal B. Okay, factors of 40 that equal B. So for my factors of 40, I have 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 5 and 8. And what does B equal? B equals 22. So which of those can I sum together to get 22? That one. 2 and 20. That's what I'm going to use. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite B in that expanded form. So 5x squared, nothing happens with that. The only thing that I'm doing is I'm expanding B from one term to two terms. 20x plus 2x plus 8. And now what am I going to do? I'm going to factor by grouping, step 3. I'm going to factor by grouping. I will factor, or I will make that a group of terms and this a group of terms, and I'll factor each one. I can pull a 5x out of the first one, and here I can pull a 2. And that leaves me with 5x plus 2 times x plus 4. Let's check our work. 5x times x is 5x squared plus 20x plus 2x plus 8. 5x squared plus 22x plus 8. Is that what I started with? Yes, this is correct. Okay, so one thing I want to point out on this is that whenever I have these terms, I find my factors and I find the set or the pair of factors that sum to b. I chose to write 20x plus 2x. What would happen if I wrote 5x squared plus 2x plus 20x plus 8? Well, I can still do the same thing. I'm going to look at factoring each group. Here I can factor out an x, so I'll pull out an x and that leaves 5x plus 2. And here I can factor out a 4, and that leaves 5x plus 2. Factor out my 5x plus 2, 5x plus 2, and that leaves the x and the 4. Same answer. Commutative property of multiplication. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is factoring trinomials where ax squared plus bx plus c, a does not equal 1. Again, keep in mind with your steps, think about what you're doing. You're going to first multiply a and c. Then you're going to find the factors that sum to b. So you're multiplying, then you're factoring, then you're adding, and then you're going to factor by grouping. You've all done those steps before. It's just a matter of getting the practice and the repetition of doing those steps in this particular order. Okay, guys, good luck with your homework on factoring these trinomials.